title. The Lanterns of Hollow Creek. Part 1. The River That Glows at Night. In the small mountain town of Pinavali, there was a creek that people called Hollow Creek. During the day, it was just a narrow ribbon of water, winding lazily between mossy rocks and bending under the shade of tall pines. But at night, on certain nights, the creek was different. It glowed. Soft golden orbs, like floating lanterns, would drift down the water. Some said they were fireflies caught in the mist. Others said they were reflections of the stars. But the oldest people in town whispered something else entirely. They were guiding lights for the lost. 12-year-old Mia had heard the stories all her life. Her grandmother told them the way some people tell fairy tales, warmly, but with a warning: never follow the lanterns, Mia. No matter how pretty they seem, they'll lead you somewhere you might not want to go. One summer evening, just before bedtime, Mia stood by her window, brushing her hair, when she saw at her very first Hollow Creek lantern. It bobbed gently in the water, drifting slow and smooth. Then another appeared, and another, until the creek shimmered like a parade of stars come down to earth. Mia couldn't help herself. She slipped on her sneakers, grabbed her flashlight, and tiptoed out before her parents could notice. The air was warm, and the sound of crickets followed her down the little dirt path toward the creek. When she reached the water's edge, she gasped. The lanterns were brighter than she'd imagined. They didn't flicker like fireflies. They pulsed, as if each had a tiny heartbeat. Mia leaned closer, her reflection bending in the ripples. One of the lanterns floated toward her, stopping right at her feet, as if waiting. "Mia," a voice whispered. She jumped back, scanning the trees, but no one was there. When she looked back at the water, the lantern had drifted a little farther downstream, slowly enough that she could follow, and though her grandmother's warning rang in her ears, curiosity tugged at her feet. She followed. Part 2. The Girl by the Creek. The lanterns bobbed along, leading Mia deeper into the woods. The farther she went, the quieter the world became. The crickets stopped. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. The only sounds were her footsteps and the soft lapping of water. After 10 minutes, she noticed the trees growing closer together, their branches arching overhead like a tunnel. And then on the far bank she saw her. A girl about her age stood barefoot in the grass, wearing a pale, old-fashioned dress. Her hair was long and dark, and she was holding one of the glowing lanterns in her hands. "You're not supposed to be here," the girl said softly. Mia's mouth felt dry. "Neither are you." The girl smiled faintly. "I live here, in the creek." Mia frowned. "That's not possible, isn't it?" The girl knelt, placing the lantern back into the water, where it drifted toward Mia. "These lights find people. Sometimes they bring them home. Sometimes," she trailed off, looking toward the darker stretch of water ahead, "they take them where they belong." Mia felt a chill despite the warm summer air. "Where's that?" The girl didn't answer. Instead, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, smooth stone, carved with a swirl. "If you want to leave, keep this with you. If you want to stay," she nodded toward the dark bend in the creek, "follow the next 3 lanterns." Before Mia could ask anything else, the girl stepped back into the mist and faded like smoke. The lanterns ahead began to glow brighter, drifting toward the bend. Mia looked at the stone in her palm, feeling the swirl under her fingers. She should have turned back. She knew she should have, but something in her, the same something that had pulled her out of bed, wanted to see what was around that bend, and so she walked. Part 3. The Bend in the Creek. The bend was unlike any part of Hollow Creek Mia had ever seen. The water widened into a small pool, still and glassy, reflecting the lanterns like a perfect mirror. The air felt heavier here, as if the night itself was pressing down. She stepped onto a mossy rock, peering into the water. That's when she saw them. Faces, they floated just beneath the surface, pale and still, eyes closed as though sleeping. Each face was lit faintly by a lantern drifting above it. They weren't frightening exactly, more sad. Mia's chest tightened. "They're waiting," a voice whispered behind her. She spun around. The girl from before was standing there again, only now her dress looked damp. Clinging to her legs, waiting for what? Mia asked. To go home? The girl said. Some got lost in the woods. Some in the water. Some just forgot the way. The lanterns guide them, but they guide others too. She stepped closer, her bare feet silent on the rocks. People like you. Mia backed up, her sneakers slipping slightly on the whetstone. I'm not lost. The girl tilted her head. Aren't you? Mia's mind flashed to the times she'd wished to run away, to hide from the noise of school, from her parents arguing, from feeling invisible in a small town where nothing ever happened. Maybe she was a little lost. But not this lost. She clutched the carved stone tightly. I'm going home. The girl's expression didn't change, but her voice grew softer. Then hurry, before the lanterns decide for you. Part 4. The Way Back. Mia turned and ran, her flashlight beam bouncing wildly. The creek rushed beside her, the lanterns drifting faster now, almost as if chasing her. She didn't dare look at the bend again. She just kept her eyes on the dirt path, her lungs burning. She burst out of the woods into her backyard, stumbling to a stop. The creek's glow was gone. No lanterns, no mist, just the quiet hum of night. Mia climbed into her bedroom window, heart pounding. She set the carved stone on her desk and crawled into bed, pulling the blanket tight around her. When morning came, sunlight streaming through the curtains, she half convinced herself it had all been a dream, until she saw the stone. The swirl was still there. And so was a faint shimmer, like water trapped inside the carving. Every so often, Mia walks by Hollow Creek at night. And sometimes, she sees a lantern or two, glowing faintly in the current. She never follows them anymore. But sometimes, she wonders what would have happened if she had.